Um, Friday, the 3rd of July, 2026. If you ask me, the writers have truly outdone themselves this time, plunging our beloved families into a level of chaos we have not witnessed since the darkest days of the Cassadine curses. The current landscape of Port Charles is nothing short of a war zone. We have Sunny trapped in a deadly standoff at the art gallery, Carly fighting for her absolute life on the cold stone floors of Windermere, and Ava desperately holding a bleeding Ethan in a dark storage room. Every single storyline is colliding into one massive explosion of betrayal, vengeance, and long buried secrets that are finally clawing their way to the surface. For those of us who have invested our hearts into these characters for years, the emotional toll is staggering. The devastation wreaked upon the Corinthos, Spencer, and Quartermain legacies is reaching a boiling point, and I am here to tell you that the fallout will leave absolutely no one unscathed. Let us start with the heart-stopping situation over at Ava's gallery, where Jen Sidwell has Sunny dead to rights. Sidwell has been holding ADA Justine Turner at gunpoint, using her as the ultimate pawn to force our favorite mob boss into helping him escape Port Charles. The tension in that room is thick enough to cut with a knife, and knowing Sunny, his mind is racing a mile a minute trying to find a tactical advantage. But just as Sidwell prepares to pull the trigger and end this once and for all, the entire dynamic shifts in the blink of an eye. A mysterious, encrypted video is suddenly sent directly to Sidwell's phone. When he opens it, the blood drains from his face. The footage is undeniable proof, a smoking gun showing that it was Ross Cullum, not Sunny, who murdered Marco Rios. The revelation hits Sidwell like a freight train. All this time, he has been hunting the wrong man, manipulated by the very double agent he trusted. In a jaw-dropping twist, Sidwell slowly lowers his weapon, releasing a terrified Justine. Instead of demanding Sunny's help to flee, Sidwell looks his greatest enemy in the eye and proposes the unthinkable, a temporary, unholy alliance. He wants to join forces with Sunny to hunt down Ross Cullum and make him pay in blood. Two of the most dangerous men in the world, putting aside their lethal feud to destroy a common enemy. It is a masterstroke of mob diplomacy. But that's not even the craziest part. Meanwhile, the situation in the gallery storage room is turning into a complete nightmare for Ava. She is kneeling on the floor, her expensive silk dress stained with Ethan's blood after he heroically took a bullet to save her life. Ethan is losing blood at an alarming rate, fading in and out of consciousness. Ava is frantic, applying pressure to the wound, terrified that she is about to watch another man die right in front of her. Suddenly, Ethan's eyes flutter open. He grabs Ava's wrist with a surprising burst of desperate strength. We all expected him to finally confess that he is not Phoebe's biological father, to clear the air before he takes his last breath. Instead, Ethan drops a bombshell that shakes Ava to her very core. He reveals that he faked his death all those years ago, not out of cowardice, but to protect Phoebe's late mother, Delilah. He confesses that Delilah was being hunted by an underground syndicate, an organization far older, richer, and infinitely more dangerous than Ross Cullum could ever dream of being. Ethan's words are slurred, his breathing shallow, but the terror in his eyes is palpable. He warns Ava that Cullum is merely a symptom of a much larger disease, a puppet dancing on the strings of a true mastermind who has been pulling the levers in Port Charles for decades. As Ethan loses consciousness again, the horrifying realization washes over Ava. They have been fighting the wrong war, and the real boss is still out there, watching their every move. But that's not even the craziest part. Over on Spoon Island, the gothic horrors of Windermere are reaching a fever pitch. Carly is crawling on the floor, battered, bruised, and fighting for her survival after a brutal physical altercation with Ross Cullum. Cullum is hunting her through the dark, cavernous halls, fully intending to silence her forever. In a desperate bid to hide, Carly throws herself against a heavy oak bookcase, only to feel it give way. She tumbles backward into a hidden, dust-covered room that hasn't seen the light of day in years. As she struggles to her feet, she realizes she is standing in a secret WSB archive, surrounded by towering file cabinets and classified dossiers. Before she can even process her discovery, a figure steps out of the shadows. It is the highly anticipated arrival of the character played by John Oliver. For weeks, we have all been speculating that he was the infamous, villainous Z. But in a twist that left me completely speechless, he introduces himself not as a villain, but as a former director of analysis for the WSB. He has spent years operating deep underground, quietly investigating the sprawling network of corruption that Ross Cullum built. He looks Carly dead in the eye and shatters everything we thought we knew. Z, he explains, is not a single person. it has never been just one man. Z is a code name, a mantle passed down through generations, representing the shadowy head of the WSB's most elite off-the-books network. It is a title, much like M in the James Bond universe. This means the true identity of the current Z remains a terrifying mystery, and Cullum is just a rogue operative exploiting the system. But that's not even the craziest part. While Carly is making this world-shattering discovery, Jocelyn and Liesel are navigating the treacherous, rat-infested tunnels deep beneath Windermere. They had the perfect chance to escape, to run far away from the island and never look back. But Jocelyn, fueled by that fierce, undeniable Spencer loyalty, refuses to leave her mother behind. In a moment of profound character growth, Liesel, a woman who has spent years as a villain, looks at Jocelyn and sees the same fierce maternal protection she has for her own children. Liesel agrees to turn back. They navigate the labyrinth of tunnels, eventually finding a forgotten trapdoor that leads directly into the main study of Windermere. They burst through the floorboards just as Ross Cullum corners Carly, raising his weapon to deliver the fatal shot. What happens next is pure, unadulterated adrenaline. Liesel, utilizing her decades of lethal training, disarms one of Cullum's guards, tossing a weapon to Jocelyn. An epic, deafening shootout erupts right in the middle of the Windermere living room. Bullets shatter ancient vases and tear through priceless portraits. Jocelyn stands shoulder to shoulder with her mother and Liesel, laying down, covering fire with a precision that would make Jason Morgan proud. Faced with the combined, terrifying wrath of three desperate women, Cullum realizes he is outgunned. Like the coward he truly is, he abandons his grand plan, fleeing into the stormy night and leaving his entire operation in ruins. But that's not even the craziest part. Let us cross the ocean to that secluded medical facility in France, where the emotional stakes are higher than ever. Felicia has finally arrived, and the confrontation we have all been waiting for takes place. After weeks of stubborn denial, Felicia breaks down in tears. She looks at Anna and admits the agonizing truth. Anna was right all along. The man sleeping in her daughter's bed, the man playing father to little James, is not Nathan. It is Cassius Faison, a monster wearing a hero's face. The emotional weight of this realization crushes Felicia, but Anna does not offer mere sympathy. She offers a theory that will shake the foundation of this show. Anna's brilliant analytical mind has been working overtime, and she drops the ultimate bombshell. If Cassius was deployed to Port Charles merely as a decoy, a pawn to distract the authorities and the Scorpio Drake family, then what is the true endgame? Anna theorizes that the real Nathan West never died. She believes that Nathan's death was a carefully orchestrated illusion, and that he is currently alive, being held captive in a highly classified, off-the-grid WSB black site outside the United States. The implications are staggering. Maxie's husband, James's real father, might be sitting in a dark cell waiting to be rescued. This jaw-dropping twist ignites a fire in both women. Wiping away her tears, Felicia agrees to put everything else on hold. Together, these two legendary women vow to launch a global search to bring the real Nathan home, setting the stage for the greatest rescue mission in soap opera history. And if you think the drama stops there, you clearly don't know Port Charles. Back in town, Cody Bell is absolutely reeling. The trauma of watching little James get his heart broken, combined with the sheer terror of James almost being kidnapped by Cassius, has left Cody in a dark place. He feels powerless, completely out of his depth against the international espionage that has invaded his life. But enter Tracy Quartermain. We all know Tracy can be a shark, but when it comes to the people she cares about, she is fiercely protective. Seeing Cody's despair, Tracy steps up in a way that only a Quartermain matriarch can. She doesn't just offer him a shoulder to cry on, she offers him an arsenal. Tracy decides to unleash the full, terrifying financial and political influence of the Quartermain Empire to launch a private, heavily funded investigation. She makes a few phone calls to senators and judges in her pocket, effectively bulldozing through the red tape that the WSB relies on. Because of Tracy's ruthless intervention, Cody is granted unprecedented access to heavily redacted, sealed WSB files that have been locked away for years. For the first time, Cody has the ammunition he needs to uncover the truth about Cassius, the WSB, and perhaps even the location of the real Nathan West. Guys, the convergence of all these storylines is nothing short of spectacular. We have Sonny and Sidwell teaming up, Ava uncovering a shadow syndicate, Carly discovering the true nature of Z, and the Scorpios embarking on a quest to find a man we all mourned years ago. The writers are weaving a tapestry of suspense that honors decades of history while pushing our favorite characters to their absolute breaking points. But as the dust settles on Spoon Island and Ross Cullum vanishes into the shadows, a chilling question remains. If Z is a title, and the true mastermind is still out there watching this entire bloody chess game unfold, who is really pulling the strings? And when will they finally step out of the dark and reveal their true face to Port Charles? I guess we will just have to tune in next week to find out.